In this short video I'm going to show you how to make a credit roll with masks. So just to show you how it's going to look, it's got a fade in at the bottom and it's got a fade out at the top. So how do we do masks in a credit roll? I get this question quite a lot, so I decided to make a quick video about it. So let's have a look. We have a scene group which has the masks in and a child scene that has the text. So let's add ourselves a scene group, that's this one here, and let's add ourselves a child scene. And if you drag and drop that onto you see the arrow appear there facing right, drop that on top, and now we have a child and parent group, or scene group, sorry. And now I'm going to add a quad. So I added a quad for my primitives. I'm going to make it the full width of the screen, and I'm going to add a mask. I've already made the masks, but just in case you don't know how to make a mask, I'll show you. So new material. You're going to want to change the blending mode to alpha mask, and then if you apply that, you've got yourself a mask object. Now, if you've watched our other videos on masking, you'll see that I use layer objects so that I can see how the mask is affecting the other objects. You don't actually have to use a layer object to get masks to work. It's just that you can see how the blending is working. Mask will actually render on the output anyway. In this case, we can't use a layer object because layer objects only allow you to affect objects within them, which means, of course, the text is going to be in a different scene altogether, so there's no way we can have it in the same layer object. So what we're going to do is we're going to build all our masks in this group, not have them in layer objects, and then they'll affect things in other scenes. So now I want to make a copy of this guy, so I'm going to make mask 1, I'm going to make a copy, and I'm going to call this feather 1. I'm going to add a gradient mask. So to do that, I'm going to say new material. That's going to have a gradient on it. There we go. And let's put that gradient at the bottom there. 0. So I'm actually going to the gradient here just to be sure I'm on the gradient. I put the alpha 0 on bottom right. So top is 100, 100, 0. 0. The colors have nothing to do with this in this case. If I change the preview here to a quad, I can see the gradient. Excellent. Close that. Add that to our guy here, and now if we move this down, we have a mask. Except I didn't do the important thing. Make sure you change the blending mode on the main layer, not the gradient. Also needs to be alpha mask. And it's going to look like it's black. Move it up so it matches the other guy. And then if you drop that feather mask inside your other mask, they're now paired, of course, and I can move them together. So I've got my gradient at the top of the screen there. Now I'm going to make a copy. I'm going to rotate on Z 180 and move that down until I'm happy with where that is as well. Okay. Excellent. So now we have our masks. It's important to make sure they're forward on Z. So I'm going to put them to 1 in this case. So this is the masks themselves. The feathers within will also move with them. They stay 0 here, but because the parent is on 1, they'll also be in front. I've just got some copy text I took from the internet, which just to fill out the text box. So I'm just going to copy that from my other scene. I'm going to go to my new scene. I'm going to put a text box in, and I recommend doing these settings before you copy and paste the text because that text is quite long, so it can take a bit of processing if you accidentally put a 1 on the word wrap here, for example. So talking of that, I'm going to put I've gone to tabs and options. I'm going to change my alignment to center. That's on the first tab here. So tabs and options, center, enable word wrap, and I'm going to put 800 in because that's how I know how long I want the text. I'm going to double click so that my cursor's back in here, Control V to paste that text I had, and I'm going to move my object over so that it's in the middle. So if you want to type in exactly the middle, that's 960 because that's half of 1080, and you'll be dead center. Now it doesn't matter that the text is going off the screen, because the way in which XPression renders things like rolls and crawls is it actually shrinks or stretches the scene to the size of its content, so its widest point. So what you should find now, if I was to double click this, I'm going to get a prompt, press spacebar, and now it's going to play. So this is actually a way of checking that your rolls and crawls are working actually inside the layout. So you can see now, because my masks are in front of where my text object is, which is actually just on the default Z space of 0, my masks are on 1, so they're in front. And that is how you do a credit roll. And of course, just like I showed before, you have your controls inside the scene group for changing things like the speed. If you want to look more at those, then check out the previous video on how to make a credit roll. Thanks for listening.